Welcome back to Rides and Drives Team Radio, the ultimate IndyCar fan podcast. I'm Kaz, and joining us fresh from the track in Milwaukee is Harvey Briggs. I've got a lot to say about this qualifier, Harvey, but more than that, I'm just anxious to hear from you. What did you see today, and who did you talk to?
Well, I talked to a lot of people. I talked to Alex Palou. I talked to Pato O'Ward. I talked to Renus VK. I talked to almost every driver when they came off the track. I got a chance to at least talk to them for a few minutes and learned a lot about this track and this race and some of the strategies that are going to play out tomorrow during the race. So it should be a lot of fun.
So I really want to hear what the drivers have to say about tires. What did people have to say?
Well, the first thing they said is tire deg is huge. Everyone said that, Ray Hall, they all came off the track and said they could feel the tire going away during the two qualifying laps.
Wow.
So it's tire deg's going to be huge. I think it was Ray Hall who said by the end of the stint, it's going to be 1.5 to 2 seconds slower than at the start of the stint. So
pit stop timing.
Yeah, pit stop
becomes pretty essential.
Will be critical because you don't want to pit too early, right? And then get yourself into a situation where you're going to have to maybe make an extra pit stop.
Or at the very least, defend on terrible tires.
Yeah, but if you wait too long to pit, then you're going to be vulnerable to that undercut. And, 1.5 to 2 seconds on a 22-second lap is
That's
huge. So it's going to be really important for them to get that right.
What other topics came up really commonly with the drivers?
Well, one thing they all said is that they just absolutely love Milwaukee as a track.
Yay! Yeah, Wisconsin.
It's one of their favorite to drive because it really lets them race. There's going to be a lot of wheel-to-wheel action, a lot of passing. You'll see cars, running two different lines throughout the race. And sometimes you'll see them three wide. It's bonkers, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
That's great. I'm glad to hear that they're looking forward to it, too. I usually feel races are better when it looks like they're having fun out there.
Yeah, it's everyone was smiling when they came off the track, except for
Colton Herta.
Well, Colton maybe. And Santino.
Sure.
He was disappointed in his qualifying time, especially after he saw his teammates' qualifying time.
Santino was such an interesting case this qualifier. It's really not what I come to expect from him on a short oval.
Yeah, I mean, he has done really well on these historically. So we expected him. He said after the qualifying, I talked to him and he said, look, I'm just going to put my head down in practice 2. We're going to figure out what's wrong, what we did wrong, and we're going to be ready to go tomorrow.
Sure.
So he might come into play in some predictions tomorrow.
Well, and he knows that this is a track where he's capable of making a lot of ground back.
Yeah, and it was funny. Someone asked him, what's going to happen? How many people are you going to pass on the first lap? And he said, as many as I can.
That's Santino.
He's just like, I'm going to throw it in the first corner and see what happens.
That's Santino for you.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. It should make for some exciting action in those first few laps. That's, because that's, again, this course is so small, so tight from a lap standpoint that it will take a while for them to get spread out. And in addition to that, they're going to come across back markers very quickly. So you're going to be negotiating traffic in just a few laps.
I was going to say, even if you're spreading them out, it's such a short track that how spread can they actually be?
Right. And so what happens is, and this is something that Alex talked about in the post-race or the post-qualifying press conference, was it really becomes a race when you start to find the back of the pack, because then you are negotiating those guys and trying to set them up to use them to your advantage. And he said, I think it was, he said McLaughlin was really good at that last year, and he learned a lot from watching him. So yeah, it was very interesting day, very interesting qualifying. Penske drivers were strong today.
Penske had a
Um,
great day.
yeah, you've got three drivers in the top 10, right? And who knows where they're going to end up, but
I have to think too that Newgarden would have put in a better time if he had had the benefit of going a little bit later in the session and learning. I think both of his teammates were able to adjust their setup based on what he did and put in that fast lap time right away. Newgarden's second lap was faster than his first. I think he was the only driver on the track who had that experience.
well,
So if he had really been able to put in that proper first lap, I think we would have seen him a little further up.
right. And the track did rubber in during
Mhm.
qualifying. It got better toward the end,
There was
which
a notable shift. McLaughlin and everybody was hitting better times.
yeah, I mean, part of that is, those were
They're
some
the
of the
top 10
better
drivers.
top
Yeah.
10 teams. But at the same time, a lot of people early in the session talked about how slippery the track was and how tough it was to keep control of the car.
Well, hey, those are the benefits of being higher up in the championship.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you earn the privilege of
The
being in
good
a
track.
position where you get the better track. So yeah, absolutely.
Well earned, honestly. Yeah, I was really excited to see Penske have a better day today. All three of them look quick. But one thing I noticed watching on television, and I'm wondering, Harvey, if anybody mentioned this after qualifying, it looked like the Penske drivers, while they were super fast, were working harder with their hands and their arms in the car. Did any of them mention anything about that?
No, they didn't talk specifically about that. I actually asked Will Power after the race what makes the difference between, where you guys have been and what you're able to achieve today. He
Hmm.
said he just looked at me and said, "It's the oval, man. That's where we that's where we're good."
That's
So,
great.
so yeah, they love being on the oval, and I would expect these guys to really have a good day tomorrow.
Great. I think IndyCar fandom in general is excited to see Penske have a little bit of a resurgence. It's just been less fun without them as a real competitor this year.
Yeah, it was funny because after the first practice, they were all three. Well, at one point, all three were in the top 10 in the first practice. And
Hmm.
I took a bunch of pictures and posted it on Instagram. I said, well, it looks like Penske's found the speed. Now they just have to find the luck because they haven't had much of it this year. And that's really what it's going to be about tomorrow is, yes, you have to drive well, but luck has to fall in your favor on this track. As short as it is, as much action as there's going to be,
Hmm.
um, it's going to be an interesting race.
You know who else had a better day today? A team we've talked about a couple of times recently. It's not fantastic, but Rahal Letterman looked strong.
Yeah, they were very competitive. I talked to Graham after his qualifying, and he said he loves this track. This again, he said this is my favorite track. And I asked him what makes it your favorite. He says because you can race here, you can go wheel to wheel, you can set people up for passes, you can really um, just you can drive the car. The something about the flat oval makes it a much more driver friendly environment. It's not just mash the throttle and hope you don't spin.
These driver interviews are making me even more excited than I already was for the race. It is so cool that all of them are talking about the ability to race. And
Yeah,
Graham looked sharp also, and he looked happy. He looked like he was having a good time.
yeah, clearly he was. He came, we saw him earlier in the season and they were very much in a down mode. They've
Hmm.
struggled this season and you could tell, I think it was going into mid Ohio, they were almost like, I don't know, we're going to have to figure something out. Well, maybe they figured a little something out. And, the thing about this track is it's going to be very unpredictable. And in fact, I'll have to tell you what David Malukas told me so about that. But
All right.
it's very unpredictable, and so there are going to be opportunities for people who are in that top 15, maybe even top 20, to finish up near the front.
God, that's great. So you've teased it. What did Malukas have to say? What a day he had, by the way.
Oh yeah, he was, sitting there watching everyone qualify after him, and when Pato didn't beat him, he's like, I think I got it. I think I got it. And then Alex comes around and does what Alex does, but
Alex just looked ridiculous.
yeah, but it was funny. I got a chance to talk to David after his qualifying session, and I said, "What do you expect from the race tomorrow?" He said, "It's going to be beautiful chaos."
Oh, wow. What a quote.
He just
That's perfect.
he said it's going to be wide open and wild, and he said that's my phrase for the weekend. It's going to be beautiful chaos.
Embrace it. That's great.
Yeah, so he's excited to be starting up front. I think this is the fourth time he started on the front row. So, and it would have been his first pole. So he was really looking forward to it, but disappointed, yes, but he kind of, you kind of knew that Alex was going to have a shot to pass him.
I just think this year you can't be too down on yourself about being second to Palou in any situation.
No, Pato was the same way. I talked to him and he said, look, after a great run, he said, look, it's just Alex's year. And, between how he's driving and how that team is putting things together, this is the way it's come out. And, we're going to give it a run next year.
Yep.
So,
And what can you do but be excited to be driving around that guy right now?
yeah, exactly. And as Pato said, they don't award points on Saturday. So, Sunday is the big day. They only award 1 point on Saturday. So
But it was Alex's.
it was Alex's. But the major points are going to come out tomorrow. And like I said, it's going to be a wide open race. It's going to be a great race if you're an IndyCar fan. And honestly, if I wanted to introduce someone to the sport of IndyCar, this is the track and the race that I would bring them to, because the excitement levels are going to be super high.
What a statement. Now
The
you're
o-
making me even more jealous that I'm in Indiana.
Well, the other thing that the drivers talked about that they were very appreciative of was the fan support at the track. They said, look, normally on a qualifying day, we come to the track and there's nobody in the stands. And yeah, the stands weren't packed, but there were enough people there to make noise and really have themselves felt by the drivers. And I think tomorrow's race, if it's not a sellout, it's pretty close. And so it's going to be a great crowd. And I'm like I said, I'm really looking forward to being there. I have a seat in the grandstands because I think that's the best place to watch the race from. So I'll be sitting there with some friends watching the race. I'll run down to do the post race press conference right as, probably just before it ends, just so I can
Sure.
be there and be in Victory Circle to get some photos and talk to drivers and things like that.
But why not watch the race from the best place, right? That's exactly where I would be.
Yeah, you sit up high in the grandstand. We're right by the start finish line, and you can see the cars circle the whole track. So you can really see them set up their passes. You can really see them, uh, you know, figure out their strategies and all that stuff. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, Harvey, unless you've got anything else from your conversations today, I
Well,
think oh, yeah.
yeah, not so much from the conversations, but one of the things I did want to talk about because I was there to experience it firsthand, is just the whole environment at the track. The thing about this track, and we talked about this on the on the previous episode, this is the oldest continuously operating track in the world. 1903. That's 6 years before the Indianapolis Motor Speedway opened. So that's super cool, and you kind of feel it, right? But then the other thing is it's inside Wisconsin State Fair Park. So they have a fan zone just outside the grandstands, which is the state fair. Um, area. And I don't know if many people who are listening to this have ever been to the Wisconsin State Fair, but it is famous for all its food and beverages and different things. You know, they've got the cream puffs, they've got the bratwurst, the cheese curds, the fried pickles, anything you want. They're there.
For
It's
me,
like,
it's the sweet corn. It's
yeah,
so good.
the sweet corn at that time of year now, so it's perfect. It's all there, and so if you're coming to the race, you get to enjoy that as well. That's a big added bonus, I think, in terms of the whole atmosphere of the race.
Oh, yeah.
And the other thing is, the fan zone is free. You don't need a ticket to go in and be in the fan zone and enjoy that. You need a ticket to get into the grandstand or into the infield. So
Oh,
if you
wow.
just wanted to come and hang out outside the track and kind of take in the environment, you could do that. Now they will sell you a ticket and get you in if you want to go in, but you know,
But if
it's
you're just there for the atmosphere, you can do that. That's
yeah,
great.
yeah. You just have to pay to park. You know, so that's
Now,
not a
let me
bad deal.
ask, are there carnival rides?
There were not carnival rides, but there is the giant slide.
All
So,
right.
you know, you
If we're
got that.
mimicking the state fair, I mean, my whole thing is shoving myself full of funnel cake and then getting on the tilt-a-whirl. But
Yeah, that's not part of the weekend. It's only the food. But that's okay because that's you know, that's a big part of the environment for me. I thought it was great.
oh, for sure. Anywhere I'm going, I want a good variety of food. And, the thing about a lot of sporting events is that you expect to see the same thing. So anytime you get to go somewhere where there's something a little new and exciting is a
Yeah,
bonus for me.
I think so. I think that's great. And also I thought the prices were pretty reasonable. You know,
Oh, cool.
you can get a you know, a good craft beer for $9 for a
Oh,
pint. You know, that's not bad for a sporting event price.
no.
So you know, I thought it it's a very reasonable place. And if again, you know, great racing, great venue, great food in a
Mm-hmm.
great city,
Mm-hmm.
you got to come to Milwaukee next year and see a
Yeah.
race. So
Yeah.
that's really what this is all about for me.
Awesome. Well, we've talked a lot about what we expect to see tomorrow in a general sense. Let's get specific. Harvey, it's time to play our predictions game.
Uh-oh, I better take out a pen and paper here.
All right, so just a quick recap of points and predictions that we're going to be making. We'll predict the podium, 1 point per each driver correct on the podium, 2 points if you get them in the right place. We'll be predicting biggest mover and biggest bust. We'll be predicting our bad guy for the race. And then finally, we'll make a gamble to be assigned a number of points by the other player. Currently, we're standing at me 5 points, Harvey 2.
Yes,
So
because
pretty
I
wide
get
open
because
championship.
I gave you those
Well, you
Penske
still gave
points
them to
last
me.
year.
It still
Yeah.
counts. They're in my total.
Okay.
You
Well,
didn't have to be nice.
let's since I was at the track and I have the insider knowledge, I'm going to let you go first on your podium picks.
An even greater disadvantage. For number 3, I have willpower. Penske looked great.
Yep.
Will is driving for a contract.
Yeah.
I just think he's going to put on a show tomorrow. And Will is, one thing also, you've talked about how important the timing of pit stops is going to be. Will has so much experience. He's seen everything. I think he might have a little bit of a leg up on some of the younger drivers,
Yeah.
knowing when to come in.
No, I think that's fair. One of the things Malukas talked about is we've qualified well, we haven't finished well, and making that transition is a big thing. And so
Hmm.
for me, for my podium for number 3, I'm picking Scotty Mack.
Great pick. Yeah.
So that's my third place on the podium.
And step number 2, I'm having a fangirl day. It's Joseph Newgarden.
Oh,
I've wanted him to have the race of the season for him so many times, and there were so many moments this season where it looked like he was going to pull something gorgeous together, and then something happened to stop it, whether it was his error or just some bad luck. It's happened 4 or 5 times this season. Law of numbers says he's got to be allowed to finish a game plan at some point, and he looked fast, and I know how badly he wants it. And I want it for him. So let's go, Joseph.
Okay. Well, I am going to go a little bit down the range a little bit for someone who's going to move up
Hmm.
and take second, and that is going to be Kyle Kirkwood.
Kyle is very capable of pulling off that performance.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just think Andretti hasn't been, they've had a tough couple races,
Hmm.
but he looked good today. It's a wide open race tomorrow. They won't have problems with strategy. They have all the knowledge here. This is a team with a ton of history here. Michael Andretti won here, Mario's won here. So I just feel like there's some Andretti magic, and Kirkwood gets to the second step of the podium.
It also seems like with Kirkwood, a lot of the drivers seem to really respect his racecraft a lot. So on a track like this, where we're expecting to see a lot of racing,
Hmm.
that's a great pick. And number one, God, I want the points. It's Alex.
Yeah,
Look at him. Look at him go. He was so fast.
yeah, and can we pick the same people, or once
Yeah,
you pick?
we'll talk about it for next year, but for now, I think we can go ahead and pick the same,
Okay, because
especially in a situation like this.
I'm gonna pick Alex as well, and not just because he had a great qualifying. When I asked him after the race, how much did the potential to get 10 wins mean to him?
Hmm.
And thank you, Kaz, for helping
Yeah,
me
you
with
used
that
my
question.
question.
When I asked him how that, whether that mattered or not, he said, it's everything right
Ugh,
now. He said, we will never have a chance to do this again because the teams are only getting better. So I have to do this now or it's not going to happen.
wow.
So I think these last two races, you're going to see Alex just giving it his all when the race is on the line. Not that he hasn't to this point, but first of all, he has nothing to lose
Yeah.
because he's got the championship sewn up. And if he can get those 10 wins, he's a legend.
In a lot of ways, that almost means more than a championship. He's right. He'll probably be in the championship fight again next year. This
Right.
is his fourth one already. 10 wins in a season is historic.
Exactly. So I'm going to pick Alex to win, and we both are, and hopefully
Yeah.
we'll split the points on that. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Happy to each pick up two off of that. And again, I know I say this every time we talk about Alex, but I just think he's such a nice, good guy.
Hmm.
If this happens for him, if he makes this happen for himself, good for him. Couldn't be happier to see it. Who do you have moving up? Biggest mover, Harvey.
This one, it's actually, I think, pretty easy.
Yeah.
Colton Herta.
Oh, sure.
Starting
Yeah.
26th. I
Yeah.
think if he doesn't finish in the top 10, I'll be shocked. He just had a brain fart on the on that qualifying lap, and it cost him.
Really, really masterful recovery from him, though, to not put it into the wall. That's impressive in and of itself.
Yeah, very much so. I took a look at that after the qualifying. It was like, wow, I thought for sure he was going into the wall, but nope,
Yeah.
he was
Yeah.
fine.
It was a very tense couple of seconds. Look, you're making the smart pick. I just don't want to. It's Callum Ilott for me.
Callum Ilott. Oh, interesting to see
He's
Prema move up.
he's been looking so good over the last couple of weeks, and Prema is a story that I like rooting for. You'll notice that sometimes my picks are less about what I think is realistic and more about what I want. Prema is such a fun story, and I want Callum to get up into the top 10, and I think he could.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think anyone in the top 20 is capable of being on the podium, and
Hmm.
anybody in the field is capable of being in the top 10 in this race because of the unpredictability, because of the beautiful chaos.
Oh,
As,
thank you, David, for that
yeah,
fantastic term.
no,
I do want to note though, I almost had Santino Ferrucci here. I thought really hard about it, and after qualifying, that's where I had him. But did you watch any of the practice session?
no, I didn't. I was on the road home.
He coming out of a pit stop, ran into the back of Devlin DeFrancesco's car. Damage to the tow ropes on both. Both cars had to be taken back to the garage, and neither of them were able to complete the session. Santino is a great driver, and he
Oof.
drives with a lot of passion. But I think it seems like his head might not be in it as much as maybe it is, but he's kind of on the fringe right now, and that kind of energy can go either way.
That's crazy because
Yeah,
when he came off the track in qualifying, he said, "We just got it wrong and we need this late practice session to figure it out." And
yeah,
so if he drove himself out of that practice session, yeah, they're going to be struggling tomorrow.
definitely. And I he's a guy who likes racing in Wisconsin. So I still have hope that we'll see some good stuff from him. But I'm just not 100% convinced that his mental state is where it needs to be. All credit to him when he was asked about it afterward. He was really just like, I was kind of sliding. I tried to overcorrect. It was boneheaded. I'm sorry. He
Hmm.
specifically apologized to Devlin,
Well, he should.
obviously. But I like so okay, I'm not like worried about his mental state. He was able to easily sum up what happened and
Yeah,
apologize for it. But you're definitely right. Missing out on that practice time probably means more to him than it does to some of the other drivers in this race.
yeah. You know, the other one who could move up
Mm.
a lot is Kiffin Simpson.
Oh, sure.
Because of the grid penalty that they have to take, he's starting at the back of the field. And, you're
And that's
talking
not where he
about,
qualified.
yeah, well, he qualified 20th, so he didn't do great, but it's a Ganassi car and
Yeah.
he's a solid driver. So he could move 20 points. He could move
Yeah.
to from 27th to top 10.
And you know what? Rosenquist is also.
Yeah, I know. No, there's
He
there's
put it
a
into the wall, but he's a great driver. He's going to move way up. This is a fun category, this
yeah.
race.
Yeah. I think
There are
this
so
one
many
is.
great options.
I think biggest bust is also going to be an interesting one because I think that's going to come down to again a little bit of luck. Who's going to make a mistake, or who's going to be the recipient of a
Yeah.
mistake that's made to him?
Biggest bust was really hard for me. I was looking at the list and honestly, I just kind of pulled a name out of my gut because I think you're right. I think it is going to come down to a lot of luck here. Connor Daly.
Mm.
The spirits told me. I don't know. It's just the pick that I've made. He's a
I
great
got it.
driver. He's
He
near
is.
home, but
And I got to tell you, he was really happy after he came off the track in qualifying.
I
He
want him to be happy.
I thought he was very solid. And my biggest bust is going to be
Yeah.
Malukas.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I'm
he talked about that. He's been able to qualify well and not pull it together for a race. He's
right.
a pick that's good because that's actually, you know, it's maybe a little bit less about luck. He has a pattern of qualifying well and then falling down.
Yeah, I mean, will he fall 8 or 9 places? Will he
Hmm.
fall 10, 15 places? Who knows? Again, luck is going to play into this. I just don't think they're ready to take that step on a race pace standpoint,
Sure.
race strategy standpoint yet, but they are getting there. I think Foyt is really a team to look out for in the future. And actually, well, the question will be: Is
Who knows where
Malukas
Malukas is
is
next
he
year?
in that seat or is he driving for Penske next year?
Oof.
That's the question. And that'll be the subject of a future podcast. We can talk about the silly season in a bit.
I want to talk about the silly season later, but I do want to say one thing. I do not envy the guys at Penske right now. It is disrespectful to let go of willpower, but he's 44 and
Right.
David Malukas is a kid. And if you scoop
23.
him up at the right time, you'll have him for 15 years.
Yep.
I don't envy them at all. It's a
No,
really, really tough place for them to be.
yeah. At During the post qualifying press conference, Maluka said, "Look, I'm learning, and I'm learning fast thanks to the people around me. I'm only 23.
Yeah.
That's it. He's a 23-year-old kid who's driving very well at the top of the best professional racing series in the country, maybe the world.
Maybe the world. What were
I
you
mean,
doing at 23, Harvey?
I was trying to figure out how to write advertising for Chevrolet. So,
Sure. And staying at AJ Foyt, by the way, would not be bad for him at all. If Penske keeps power for a year and Malukas stays at AJ Foyt, that's great. He's clearly growing and learning there.
yeah, and that they have that technical relationship with Penske, so it makes a ton of sense that they could keep him there. And maybe pay him a little more money,
Yeah.
whatever you need to do. But that might be the way to go as long as Willpower wants to come back. And I, I think Will has to deliver hard these last two races to kind of make their decision impossible.
I think he does too. That's why I've got him on the podium because Willpower is not a guy who sits back and lets somebody else take his seat. Um, anyway, tangent aside, back to the predictions. Who's going to be bad tomorrow?
Who's our bad boy of the race?
Who's the bad boy?
Oh, this is a good one because obviously, after what you told me, what happened in the
Mm.
practice, I would be surprised if, Santino could be that guy. However, having done that in the practice, maybe he plays safe and nice to not get into trouble again. I don't know.
If you need a minute to think, I can do
Yeah,
mine.
you go to yours because
Okay.
I hadn't thought about this one.
It is Santino again for me.
Oh, okay.
Um, but this is interesting. Bad isn't always bad. I think Santino is going to be really cheeky in a lot of his overtakes tomorrow. And he's going to toe the line. And you're going to look at him and be like, that's a little bad. But it's going to deliver a great race. And it could very well go great for him. I think he is going to be a cheeky bad boy, but I don't think he's going to do anything nasty, malicious, anything that takes anybody out. I just think he's going to toe the line really perfectly between what's allowable and acceptable. And I can't wait to watch it.
Okay, I've got mine now.
Who do you have?
Louis Foster.
Okay.
I think he's in a position where he needs to prove himself. He's down the grid significantly.
Yep.
And I think it's going to be important for him to have a good race. And that's going to lead him to take some chances that may put him in trouble. So, my
Sure.
bad boy of the race. There
Louis
you go.
Foster. And you know what? A lot of the commentary on the television feed was kind of a rookie of the year discussion about both Louis Foster and Robert Schwartzman, which is funny because I'm not necessarily sure that Robert Schwartzman would be my, but regardless, there is a lot on, there's a lot of conversation around Louis Foster's rookie season right now. Putting a stamp on it for him is important.
Yeah. And so I think again, I think he qualified a little bit out of position. I would expect him to be, 14th, 15th, 16th, not
Yeah,
20th, 22nd. But I just think he's got a lot to prove again, and he doesn't have the experience, so might lead him to be a
yeah.
bad boy.
Rookies with a lot to prove are always dangerous.
Yep.
All right. Now down to my favorite question because it has sometimes net me significant points. Make a gamble, Harvey. Whatever you want. What do you think is going to happen? Oh, you know
Oh,
what? Let me go first this
yeah,
time
you go.
because I lowballed you on points last week. I would have given you more if I knew you were going to give me 10. Um mine I had a couple that I was thinking about. I was thinking about something for Rahal Letterman because again, I felt they looked very strong, but I want to just say something bonkers. We're going to get so much action, but I think it's going to be clean. We are going to have 10 laps or less under caution.
Ooh, I don't know how many laps were under caution last year, so I don't know how wild and crazy that is. But I'm going to give you 5 points for that if that happens.
5 points if we have 10 laps or less under caution. Amazing.
Yeah. Now, I'm not going to bet that everyone's going to finish this race because I know
I
that's not going to happen
don't think it's likely.
given this track and
No.
how slippery everyone talked about it being today. So, the Okay, here's my bonkers prediction is that you're going to have that's not even that bonkers. I was going to say three drivers from three different teams on the podium,
Oh,
but that's not that bonkers.
that's not that bonkers. I mean, that's a good, an interesting prediction that if you want to lock that in, I'll let you know I would make that worth 3 points.
Okay, let's do that. Let's.
Yeah.
I want to. I think we'll see three different teams on the podium. It's just so wide open right now,
Yeah, it
and
sure is.
I think and nobody's playing the team game because it's every man for himself in IndyCar.
So that's our predictions all locked up, and we'll have to tune in tomorrow to see how we do on them. Before we go, I want to ask you a little bit about your day tomorrow. What time are you getting to the track?
We're gonna get up early and try to be at the track by 9:30. There are a couple of press conferences early that I want to make sure I get to. I want to make sure I get through the fan zone to get some tasty food before I find my seat.
Sure.
But yeah, we're gonna be there early. The folks I'm going with bought garage passes so they can go everywhere except the media center and pit lane. So
Oh, great.
that'll be fun. We're gonna have a good time. And we're going to make a whole day of it. We're going to watch the NXT race. We're going to watch the IndyCar race. Like I said, I'm going to stay after for the post-race press conference, try and get some good insights from that. And we'll be recording later in the evening tomorrow. So the podcast may not be up till Monday for our post-race podcast.
Oh, it's a good enough reason. You're at the track, and I hope you're feeling all the jealousy just radiating from Indiana.
I'm clearly trying to make you jealous. I was all day
it's working.
texting you. Oh yeah, I just talked to Will Power. Oh yeah, I just talked to. No,
Yeah.
it's great. That's the other thing about IndyCar that I don't think people know is how accessible and how open the drivers are to
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
I've
media. I get it. They kind of have to talk to me, but I saw a ton of fan interactions today where people, had stuff they wanted people to sign and they were gladly doing it, spending a couple minutes chatting with the fans. So
I was gonna say my live IndyCar experiences have always just been full of, drivers yucking it up with kiddos, signing stuff. When somebody passes them and says good luck, they acknowledge. It's a cool connection that you get to have with the drivers.
yeah, absolutely. So I think I'm poised for a good day. It's again, it's going to be a little cooler, only about 70 degrees, so it's going to be more comfortable for the drivers, more comfortable for the teams, and who knows what that's going to do to the tires as the race goes on.
Well, we will find out tomorrow.
So, for Rides and Drives Team Radio, I'm Harvey.
And I am Kaz.
She's Kaz, and we will see you after the race on Sunday.
Have fun, guys.